It's time. Shall we get started?
Yes, we should.
Yeah, people will keep rolling in. We can begin. All right. All right. Good day, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on Mastering AI-Driven Recruitment with Recruit CRM. I am Chavi, Assistant Content Manager at Recruit CRM, and I will be your host and moderator for today's session. It's great to see quite a few people joining in already, but we still have quite a few people to join in. And feel free to drop a hello in the chat box and just let us know where you are joining us from. We would love to hear it. So before we get started, can everyone see and hear me all right? Both me and Sean. A quick thumbs up in the chat box would be wonderful. It'll help us know that you guys can see and hear us properly.
Yep.
All right. It looks like people can see and hear us clearly. All right. I'd like to let everyone know that towards the end of the webinar, we'll have a quick Q&A round during which we'll be taking questions from the audience. So feel free to drop in your questions using the Q&A options on your screen during the session. So Shanak, you can start presenting your screen and we can get started.
I will do that right away.
Yep.
Alrighty, can you see my screen?
Not yet.
I think it says.
Yep, it's loading now. Yep, it's loading now. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. Let's move on to the next slide. All right. So now who are we? At Recruit CRM, we are proud to be at the forefront of recruitment technology. So we are your next-gen ATS and CRM, committed to boosting the growth of recruitment agencies all over the world. So we're serving customers in over 100 countries at the moment, and with a team of over 200 global experts, we're here to show you how our solution can make a real difference in your work. Let's move on to the next slide. Yep, what do we do? Our mission is pretty simple: to enhance the efficiency of recruitment businesses across the globe. We achieve this by providing a software that speeds up business development. It simplifies recruitment processes with smart workflow automation and even boosts your daily productivity. That's our ultimate goal. All these efforts are tailored to help you achieve significant growth. And now I'm excited to introduce my colleague and our CEO, Sean Mallapurkar, who will lead the rest of today's presentation from here. Sean has a deep understanding of recruitment and how AI can transform it. And he's here to share that with all of you today. So over to you, Sean.
Cool. Now, guys, before we go back into the slide deck, just a quick intro, and I think this is super important. I've been around recruitment all my life since I was about 4 years old. Dad worked at Randstad since I was 4 all the way through high school. So all we saw growing up was recruitment. And that sort of led to I and Dad starting Recruit CRM together. So super excited to talk to other recruitment entrepreneurs across the world and talk about what we can do with technology for you. I see a bunch of names here from people we have spoken to in the past or people who are actually users of Recruit CRM. So it'd be great to maybe have you butt in and give us your thoughts towards the end of this presentation. While we have an hour today to go through this webinar, the actual content is probably only about 30 minutes. So beyond that, it's mostly Q&A. We want to spend time to understand how a lot of what we're talking about actually applies to real people and real recruitment businesses. So without further ado, let me share my screen and let's get started. Chavi, you can see it?
Yep, I can see it. Yeah.
Perfecto. Okay, so the main topic for today is using AI and workflow automation to take your recruitment business, whether that is a perm recruitment, executive search, or contract staffing business, to the next level. Now, while this is a Recruit CRM powered webinar, so everything we talk about is how you can use Recruit CRM's AI features and workflow automation for. Most of this stuff is also possible using other tools. So if you use a different tool, please try to figure out how you can do similar things. A lot of modern tools will allow you to do a lot of what we're going to show you today, and it's a complete shame if you're not implementing some, if not most, of this stuff into your business. So just to talk about workflow automation in Recruit CRM, what's workflow automation? Workflow automation basically lets any person and any business automate and integrate day-to-day workflows with across 1,000 applications they use. This could be stuff like if a candidate applies and they have a certain kind of like degree or certain license, automatically move them up to the next stage, or reject them if they don't have like a work permit or a visa, put them in a different bucket, so on and so forth. So human doesn't actually have to do verification or manual work when you can set up simple rules to automatically have a bot do tasks for you. We're going to talk about how you can use AI to match candidates. So if you have a high quality candidate, how can you find similar candidates? If you have a job description, how can you get candidates that are similar or a good fit for that job? And how you can actually in the flesh see workflow automations being set up, how it's not only programmers and nerdy technical folks that can connect tools and automate, and how you as a normal person, like I and you are, we can go in today and use new age technology to make our life simple. And then how can we do all of this quickly so that you can get ROI as soon as possible? And please have your questions coming on the chat. Every now and then we'll take a little break, and my colleague Chavi will sort of push these questions in, and we can answer them as they come. So we're going to talk about some of our AI features first and how you can use that to just make your life easier. One of the key features, functions we have within Recruit CRM is we use an AI parser called Text Kernel, which is arguably the best in the world, to help our users parse Word documents and PDFs into the database, which means whenever a candidate applies to a job, or when you upload a resume or 10 or 100 resumes together or CVs together, the system sends that file to Text Kernel's AI parser, which then takes all the information in that CV, including someone's name, work experience, educational history, skills, languages, spoken, location, and even geocodes it so that you can find people on a map. The idea here is, how can we take information that's in a document and make it, one, easy to read and easy to search on, so a human in your team doesn't actually have to tag people one by one. And same for your candidate. How can we allow one of your candidates to just drop a resume or CV into your application form and see that application form automatically filled? So you're not asking the candidate to fill information into boxes that's already in the CV they're submitting, because that just leads to a lot of extra data entry. Now, if you're not using Recruit CRM and you're using a different tool, you can probably still go to textkernel.com and pay a few $1,000 to get their parser to just save a lot of data entry time. With Recruit CRM, this just comes for free. Now, the second piece is, once you actually parse a resume, you may not want to use that same exact resume to present that candidate to your clients. You might want to, maybe that resume is not formatted well and you just want to format it differently. Maybe you want to summarize it. It's like 5 pages. Some candidates tend to send you longer CVs. And how do you crunch that down so you have a standard format across all the candidates you work with? Now I'm going to give you a live example of this with my own profile. This is literally me. I've parsed myself from LinkedIn. And what I'm able to do here is, because the AI parser has been able to pick up all of my work history and education history, what I'm able to do is I'm able to say, AI, can you create work history for me? Can you basically write who I am or who this candidate is? And based on the tags you have, so you can basically give it prompts or write prompts and stuff, and it'll write stuff for you. And you can take this text here and you can combine it with templates you as a company have set up. So depending on the kinds of templates you've set up, you can apply a variety of different templates, which will have different logos, or your logo or your client's logo, bring in the work history of the candidate. And essentially in seconds, you can recreate a resume. So you can take a PDF and create a completely new document using a combination of AI parsing and document editing technology we've built, which basically creates an alternative to a standard CV, which can be downloaded, sent to clients. We also have a bot that helps you take an existing CV and just completely reformat it. Now, going back into what else is possible, right, is AI matching. When you find high quality candidates, it's painful to have to go through all the candidates in your database from scratch to try to figure out who's a good match. So let's say I was looking to hire a content manager and I had Chavi in my database, and I think she's a perfect or high quality candidate for that job. Instead of trying to find 50 other folks like her, I can just go to her profile and hit a star button, and it'll find me other resumes or people in my database that are similar to her with a percentage match. And then you can take those people or look at their profiles and assign or not assign them to the job. So this doesn't have the AI automatically do your job for you, but maybe sourcing that might have taken 20 or 30 minutes can be shaved down to 3 or 4 minutes because you're just seeing more relevant profiles. Uh, Now, other places where you can use AI. Now, AI helps you best when it has to be a little creative and essentially help you fix your writer's block. So this can help you when you're writing emails. It can help you when you're writing notes, when you're on a phone call and trying to take call notes. And the simplest way to do this is to basically go in and when you're writing an email, just tell the AI, hey, I'm speaking in English, Dutch, German, and you can either speak or you can write a prompt that says, I want to write an email to this person to ask them to consider a job. And the system will just write that email for you, or it'll write a sequence of emails. So they get an email and then another one in a few days. Or when you're on a phone conversation with someone, we actually use AI to turn that into call notes. And that's right here. So if you're on a phone call with someone, you no longer have to spend any time uh, on trying to take notes and multitask and talk to someone and take notes at the same time. Uh, you can actually just talk, cut the call, and then a couple minutes later, you'll see a nice call summary with paragraphs that'll help you out. Now, again, this is native in Recruit CRM, but even if you don't use Recruit CRM and you use a different CRM system, you can try using their APIs with open source tools like Zapier or even workflow automation tools like we have inside, and try to connect it with your voice over IP system, get the text and send it to ChatGPT and convert that into a summary. There are ways to do that that we can help you with. If you're even lazier, instead of having AI write emails for you, you can have AI write email templates for you or create drafts of email templates for you. So it creates a draft, you can edit it a little bit, and then you can save it so all of your colleagues can use that vetted email template whenever they need to send standardized messages for when new interviews are scheduled or candidates that apply need to be told that they're moving forward or not moving forward. And again, here you can use voice. So you can click on a voice button and you can say what you want it to do. And you can do this on the phone. You can do this on the computer. Again, same thing with note taking. You can write a very raw note and just have the AI summarize it to make it just cleaner, easier to read for both yourself and your colleagues. So it just makes things simpler. Now, we also have a Chrome sourcing extension that works on places like LinkedIn, Sting, and Zoom Info. So this isn't AI, but what it's doing is it's basically doing automating data entry and workflows. So when you go to somebody's profile, and we've had to blur some of this stuff out, but what we're able to do is we're able to tell you if someone's in the database, if someone works at a company that is a client, so you probably shouldn't touch them. So we're able to do off limits pretty well. And if someone's already in your database, we're able to update their profile and give you new phone numbers or emails that we find so you can update that information too. The idea is how can you find someone, if you like someone on LinkedIn or Shing or Zoom Info, how can we help you add that person to the database, format their CV, assign them to a job, set up a meeting with them, all within 5 seconds versus minutes that it would take going between tabs and copying and pasting information or checking if someone's already in your database or if someone works at a client. Now to the fun part, which is hopefully why most of you are here. Workflow automations. Uh, Workflow automations, even within Recruit CRM, is something that's new. We introduced this 5-6 months ago. And the reason we brought this in was because of extreme demand from our customers. A lot of our customers, especially small and medium-sized businesses with anywhere from a couple to 50 recruiters and salespeople, were really struggling connecting all the tools they use. Most recruitment businesses, as they scale, use multiple tools. You use a tool like LinkedIn, you have your website, you have your ATS or CRM system. You sometimes have an accounting system and a marketing automation system. And most of these systems don't talk to each other. So people spend a lot of time going to Zoom Info, downloading a sheet of candidates or leads, uploading them into the CRM, manually merging duplicates, and basically a lot of work that should be automated. Now, what essentially is workflow automation? Workflow automation is essentially the ability to automate actions either within an application or between multiple applications without having to write code. So essentially creating a drag and drop workflow that says, if this happens, do this. If you receive a new email, go to Recruit CRM and parse that email if it has an attachment. And then if that is a candidate, update the candidate or create a new candidate, then go to ChatGPT and summarize that person's profile. Or when a deal is won in Recruit CRM, go to DocuSign and create a contract for the client. If they sign that contract, then wait for 2 days or immediately send them an invoice with an invoice template. And if that invoice is marked as paid, add a note and send yourself an email. So stuff like following up on invoices or getting contracts created and signed, we can sort of help you automate those tasks. And then we have a lot of pre-built recipes, which are basically pre-built automation. So you don't even have to do the if statements. You just say, this automation looks good, use. Using workflow automations, we can integrate, and you might want to zoom in, and we'll send you this deck after this call. We can integrate with well over 1,000 applications, all the way from Facebook ads, Expensify, Dropbox, essentially any app or tool you can think of, we can integrate with. And if that tool is not on our marketplace, our developers will build an integration with that tool for free at no cost, with no commitment required from your end to even use that integration. The only thing we ask is that the tool you use have an open API. An open API, to basically turn that into English, is how an application or app allows other apps to talk to it and move data back and forth. So as long as an app has an open API, so if you have a tool that you want to check, you just try to type the name of the tool and say, does Expensify or Eventbrite or whatever tool you use have an open API? And as long as they do, we can build an integration with them and connect those tools together. This could include payroll systems like ADP. It could even include tools like Salesforce or data tools like Snowflake. Now, this is like a little bit of a visualization into what automation can do. And we have some of our actual users on this call attending this webinar who are using some of these automations. So maybe they'll come in and give us their take on this too in a couple of minutes. But essentially what you're able to do is you're able to do stuff like this. You're able to say, hey, if a new candidate is added to a specific hiring stage, let's say somebody's moved to interview or post-interview feedback or offer stage, you can then apply rules that say if someone is in interview or in this or that, wait for 3 days, 2 days, 4 days. And if in that time their hiring status has not been updated further, which means they've not gone from interview to reject or interview to offer, or they've not gone from follow-up to accepted, rejected, you can then automatically send that person an email, or you can create a task for the recruiter or consultant working with that candidate to call them, or you can create a reminder on Microsoft Teams or Slack. So we're able to push automations that prompt real consultants and recruiters to do things that they may just forget to do because they're working on multiple jobs at the same time, and they might not remember when they followed up with a candidate last. And more importantly, all of us suffer from inertia, right? Unless we see it pop up on our screen, there's so many things that like get us bogged down and we don't end up doing things. Now, this is one key automation. This other automation is about batch processing. So some of our customers use tools like HubSpot and Salesforce. So the cool thing here is you can do an automation using our automation tool without needing Recruit CRM to be one of the steps in the automation. So you can actually use automations into to do other fun stuff like one of our customers uses HubSpot for marketing and Salesforce to power parts of their website. And what we're able to do is we're able to say every time new companies are added to HubSpot, either by users or through a form on their website, every day do a single batch automation that takes all of those companies and puts them into a Google Sheet. And then it one by one, based on certain rules, adds them as subscribers in MailChimp so they get emails. And it then creates those records in Salesforce, and then it puts those records in Power BI for analytics. And all of this is happening automatically in the backend. The people adding companies into HubSpot or people looking at managing your MailChimp have no idea how it got there. It's just automatically happening. And this just saves not minutes, but hours or tens of hours of time for a lot of your high value professionals or teammates who can now spend that time producing revenue. Uh, Recruit CRM will also help you manage these automations. So we'll have people on our team that manage this for you. But if you also want to go in and take a look, you can go to your dashboard and you'll be able to see the number of automations you've set up. We have teams, companies, customers, users on Recruit CRM that have upwards of 50 different recipes, which means they have 50 different automations. And when you have those many automations, if they're actually running, you're essentially saving tens of hours a week, if not more. Now, some more examples of where you can use automations. Now, some of this really needs to be zoomed in because these are really complex automations we've worked with users and companies to set up. So, for example, if a job has 6 vacancies and you want to automatically close the job when 6 candidates are placed into that job, that could be one automation. Another automation, and something I mentioned earlier on this call, could be auto rejecting applicants. So a lot of you might receive a lot of applicants and you might have different rules you want to set up for why they're rejected or accepted. The rules can be if you're hiring, let's say, somebody who needs to be able to drive a truck and their answer to upload your driver's license is no document uploaded, or yes or no is no, maybe you just automatically reject them. Or maybe if the question is, do you have a work permit to work in the United States, and they don't, and the job you're recruiting for or the company you're recruiting for does not sponsor visas, you might want to just auto reject those candidates. Or if someone applies from a specific country, you might want to auto reject those candidates because you're getting a lot of spam applications for that. Another thing you could do is, while we have default automations in Recruit CRM for sending emails as someone's hired or placed or rejected, some of our customers work in multilingual markets, like you might, where if a candidate in Germany is rejected or is offered a job, you might want to send them an automated email in German, versus if a Swede is accepted for a job, you might want to send it in Swedish, and in England, you might want to send an email in English and French, in France in French. And we can set up automations where we recognize what the primary language of the candidate is, so they get an email in that language if that's something that's relevant to your business. We also try to do a lot of Kanban automation, which means we show you a board of all the candidates you have, either across one job, or in this case, it's across all jobs for a specific consultant. So you can see these basically pipeline boards for a specific recruiter or consultant on your team, for all jobs for a specific client, or for all the candidates in a specific job. So there's different ways to skew this. And just some upcoming stuff we're working on. We are switching from just doing candidate to candidate matching, where you take a high quality candidate like Chavi here and like try to find other people like her, to just taking a job and putting weightages on what's important: work experience, skills, technology, and finding you matches that way. Or instead of using AI to like automate individual emails and add them to a sequence. You can actually tell the AI, I want to create a campaign with 7 emails and 5 follow-up tasks for this purpose, and the AI will automatically write all 7 emails right away, and you can just enroll people in that sequence. And the key is, whenever a company starts working with us, we don't try to get you to buy our product upfront. You can try the product and test it out with us. You can pilot it for a few months. And more importantly, people on our team will sit with you and help you set up these automations and use the AI, because we have people on our team that specialize in helping companies or new recruitment agencies implement automation within their business, because that's what they do for a living. Now, this includes our team setting up workflows for you. So they'll literally get on calls with you, understand what are the best practices, what do you care about as a business, where are your teammates spending the most time, and we'll essentially automate those things for you. If you want someone on our team to do this for you, and if you're already using our platform, just hit the chatbot and say, hey, I want some help with automation. Can you set me up on a call with somebody who'll set up automations for me? And someone from our team will set those up for you. And also, if you're using a different platform for automations, let's say you're using a Zapier or Zapier, we can also have our consultants recreate those automations for you within Recruit CRM and enhance them further. And then all of the human help on setting up these automations are included. There's no cost, right? So if you use workflow automations with Recruit CRM, you don't have to separately pay for humans helping you out. And we also run webinars every Wednesday. Not this webinar. We have a different webinar where we do deep product training, where we actually go into the product and do a webinar in smaller groups of 2 to 5 people, where we actually ask you questions on what automations you want to set up and help you set those automations up. Then we have some nice words from a few of our customers to just share, but that's largely it. Chavi, do you want to go over some questions?
Yeah, definitely. So Sean, can you share your screen? We can just go to the Q&A slide, and then we can start taking up the questions.
Of course.
All right. So we've actually received quite a few questions. It's wonderful to see so many people interested in learning a bit more. So we've received quite a few questions. So a quick disclaimer for everyone: if we're not able to answer your questions live, don't get disheartened. We'll get back to you over email with all the answers. So the very first question that we received is from Chris. So he's asking, will the AI and edit candidate tab take the job description and candidate summary and blend them into a summary together? That's the first question.
Yes, you can do that. So just for context, so when you're on the candidate summary, right on this page by default, and if the candidate is being considered for more than one job, it won't automatically figure out like which job you want to do the candidate summary for. But what you're able to do is, in the AI prompt, you're able to actually tell it that, hey, I want you to personalize this summary for this job with this company, and then it'll actually tailor it slightly separately. So you have to tell the AI to do it a little differently for you. But if you're automating this, so let's say you want to set up an automation that says, instead of you generating the AI summary, every time a candidate applies to a job, you want to recreate their summary or maybe separately add it as a note. We can actually take the text in the job description that they're applying to and the text in their resume, and then send that to GPT and then create a combined response. So the answer is yes, there's like a few ways to do it.
All right. The next question we have is, what does the process of creating a resume template look like? Is it intuitive or is there a learning curve?
It's fairly straightforward. And if you actually need help, we will help you do it. So for example, let's say, and there's 2 types of resume templates. One's a cover letter template. So I'll just maybe pop one up for you. And we might have our friend Lewis on the call, and this is actually one of his his sample templates here. Our team can actually sit with you and help you create these templates. Essentially, what the system is able to do is it's able to go into existing people you have, and you're able to, let me just create a new cover letter template. You're able to go in and you see blank text. But what you're able to do is you can write your own text, you can add your own placeholders, you can add your own images. And if you have a certain template that you have at the moment that you're using, you can actually come to our team and you can say, uh, hey, hey, team Recruit CRM, can you please help us create a template? And our team will come to you and say, okay, great, you want to create a cover letter template or a header template? And then they'll basically come to you and help you create that template. Uh, so if you're on one of our trials, you can actually reach out to somebody on our team and we will help you create that template. Shall we next question?
Yeah. The next question is basically on AI candidate matching. Is that within our own database or does it work in conjunction with LinkedIn? How frequently is the information updated? Some programs that offer matching have outdated information compared to LinkedIn. So that's the next question we have
Yeah,
from an anonymous attendee. Yeah.
got it. So at this point, the way matching works is we use text kernel's match algorithm, which is based on all the CVs you've parsed into Recruit CRM. So when I click on match, it basically goes inside your existing database and finds you people that match. It does not go to LinkedIn at the moment to find candidates. Uh, if you want to auto update people based on various criteria, again, you can use workflow automations for this. We have customers, for example, that use tools like Zoom Info to update information where they can actually go in and I'm just trying to do like a sample automation and how simple it is. You can say every time there is new information on Zoom Info or every 6 months, once something happens on Recruit CRM, let's say a new record is added, wait for 6 months, go to Zoom Info and find updated information about candidates, contacts, companies, and then update that within Recruit CRM. And this will sort of happen in the background. So you can set up automations to auto update information from tools like Zoom Info or Lucia, but the match is happening within your Recruit CRM database. So candidates that your team has added into the platform.
All right. All right. The next question is, can you amend or pause the triggers of the task to account for updates on the hiring manager's end? That's the next question that we have.
Uh, can you update tasks to reach out to the hiring manager?
I think that's what it means. So can you amend or pause the triggers to account for updates on the hiring manager's end? This is another anonymous question that we've received.
Yeah, absolutely. So within Recruit CRM, especially when you're setting up automations, what's super interesting to understand or learn is when you set up an automation, we actually have a different event for when the client updates the hiring status of a candidate or when you as a user or someone on your team updates the hiring status of a candidate. And so we have a bunch of these here, but basically you can set up automations based on whether the hiring status has been updated by either the client or you or both. So you can actually choose when you want the triggers to run, but yes, you can set up an automation so it only triggers when someone on your team does something and not when the client updates the stage of a candidate from the hiring manager portal.
Yeah. The next question we have is there a benefit to a daily batch instead of one at a time whenever a company is added?
Yes, absolutely. So it's huge. It's so whenever possible, we strongly recommend batching because it's significantly cheaper. So for example, when you use a automation tool, whether you're using Recruit CRM or a tool like Zapier, the way you're priced or built for this is based on the number of tasks you're automating every month. So most companies we work with automate between 1 to 10,000 tasks. If you're a team with just 2 or 3 people, you're going to be in the 1 or 2,000 bucket. If you're a team with like 7, 8, 10, 12, 15 people, you're likely going to be in the 2 or sometimes even the 5,000 bucket if you're using a lot of automations. Now, if you're doing stuff one at a time, so you're saying if this happens, go do this, that's one task. But when you do a batch automation and you say, just run a batch once a day for all new records in the spreadsheet need to just go in bulk to Power BI, that's just one task, even if it's 500 candidates. So in some cases, you can actually save 100x the tasks which is why your task consumption on Recruit CRM tends to be far lower than other tools you use like Zapier. Because a lot of mass automations that would consume a few thousand tasks on Zapier consume like 100 tasks on Recruit CRM. So it's like a 20, 30, 40x difference.
So Sean, we also have Scott Letchley and Aaron Leon here. So these are two of our customers, and we've bumped them up to panelists. So Scott actually says he would love to give his opinion from a customer's point of view who's been using automation. So Scott,
Yeah.
whenever you're ready, you can turn your camera on and just unmute yourself and
Hi,
just.
Scott. Long time.
How are you doing? You okay?
I am.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see
Am I
you.
on?
You're on. You're invisible though.
I'm invisible, but it says that I'm there, but I don't know what's going on. You can hear me anyway. I don't know. Yeah, I've had some fantastic experience with Sahil and Gupta. They've been absolutely fantastic in terms of putting all these automations together. I mean, I've tried and I managed to use up various different bits and pieces that I shouldn't have done. However, they've explained it in such a way I'm not doing it anymore. But it's fantastic that you can explain something to them, and I'm struggling to understand what I'm trying to say, but they understand it better than I'm explaining it. So what they've done is they've put together quite a few automations that I've got on there. I've got LinkedIn automations where if somebody's accepted an invitation to a request, then it automatically sets up some sequences. It makes changes within the Recruit CRM itself, and it speeds everything up. You haven't got to go remember to click the tab that says you last time you've contacted them, or there's just stuff that goes on in the background. It's the little bits that you forget to do, but you just click one switch and everything's done. I've also got.
And Scott, quick question: when you on the LinkedIn automation, what other tools you're using? So you're obviously using our automation tool. You're using Recruit CRM. Is there any other app you're using outside of LinkedIn itself?
One of the other automations I have, which is one of these things that happens at 8 o'clock every morning. It's set up a Google Sheet with 20 random contacts or candidates which I need to address in the day. And I've got Sahal laughing at me and says, "You won't do this." And I send him an email saying, "I've done it." So basically what happens is he sends me 20 contacts, 20 candidates, and I need to go through that process to update their profiles. But within that, there are little tiny tricks and things that happen within it as well. So not only am I updating and keeping the database clean, other stuff's happening in the background. There's quite a few little steps that go through, but again, it's something that he's come up with, and it's fantastic. It saves me ages. I love it. I look forward to the new ones that he sends over to me. It's brilliant.
That's awesome, Scott. And just for everyone's context, Sahil is one of the leaders in our workflow automation team that's personally works with Scott and sets up automations, and he works with a lot of our customers across Europe and the Americas. So when every time Scott says Sahil sends me stuff, it's one of our automation experts who basically
he doesn't personally do it. It's the automation.
yeah, he actually does use automations to automatically send you updates on what's available and stuff. He's not manually doing it. We eat our own dog food. That's awesome, Scott, though. Really appreciate you talking and being so open about talking about the automations and tools you're using within your business and how it's saving you time.
We've got others that he's doing at the moment as well. There's note-taking automation, which are coming in the next few days as well. So we've probably got 6 or 7 outside integrations that are going to be starting to start flowing through the system. So,
and Scott, another question. A lot of folks we talk to, right, they shy away from using tools like automation and AI, basically just by saying, hey, that's for bigger businesses that have like an IT person and an operations person and like at least a 50% or 100% company. But you and I know that's not true, right? You don't need to have like this big army of people in your company to be able to start using these tools.
It's the stuff you don't want to do. I had a list of things that I don't want to do. And I asked Sahal, can you help me do this? And they'll come up with ideas to make sure that it's getting done, but you're not actually doing it.
Yeah, and in fact, it's probably even more useful for smaller teams than it is for larger teams because you don't have people to dump that work on. You end up having to do it yourself. And if a bot can do it, it just makes life easier.
What he said about the accounts as well, the way that it's going to be ultimately linked into invoices, that, you know, you press a button, somebody's placed and it'll generate the invoice, it'll send the invoice out, and also chase up invoices as well, which is, you know, something that I find difficult to do. I can just blame it on Recruit CRM now, say that, you know, it's chasing my invoices, so it's fine.
Yeah. Send a message every third day, and then send a LinkedIn message, and then send an email, and like
I saved some Sahal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. We actually plan to help our customers not only produce the raw invoice that we have in Recruit CRM, but actually a payable invoice in 6 to 7 months. So you can actually create an invoice in Recruit CRM, send it to the client, and the client can click on that invoice to pay you, which hits your bank account directly. That's the goal. So then the automation actually plugs into actual money collection for you. Well, either way, that's not there yet, but
It's
what we
fantastic.
hope to be there soon. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Scott. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. We also have Aaron here. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, Aaron. Nice to see you. Oh,
Whoa.
somehow your face is like getting glued up. That's wild. I don't know. Is there a way we can like turn off the?
Let me just quickly check if there's a way to remove this.
Yeah, it's like an attack on his face. Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I can do it
Maybe
on
this
my
can
end.
be fixed from Aaron's end personally. Like maybe if you can uncheck the box that says I have a green screen, this might remove that, Aaron, from your
oh
own
yeah.
end.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's
It's
behaving like you have a green screen. That's what it is.
yeah.
Where's that setting?
Oh yeah, so you just click on like right beside stop video, it has a little arrow and you click on it, and
Uh-huh.
then it says video settings and you click on video settings.
Yep.
And then within video settings, it's in backgrounds and effects, if
Background.
I'm not wrong. Is that right?
Yep.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
He looks way better than the blue the blue on his face.
All right. Very cool. I mean, I have more to share about sort of like running a small business, a very small business, using Recruit CRM. But I run a business with my sister. It's just the two of us, and we are a high volume recruitment agency that helps summer camps in the U.S. So there's every year we're processing thousands of candidates to help fill summer camp jobs like camp counselors and nurses and chefs. And both my sister and I do this as a side hustle. So we don't have the hours to give to text everybody and email everybody and do all these follow-ups. So when we chose an ATS, we really chose one that could be AI first and could have all the automations we need. Recruit CRM was, when we're doing our research, was by far and away the one ATS that had these capabilities. And we're like a year and a half into this, and I'm so grateful that basically anything I want to do, I can figure out a way to do it and piece it together using Recruit CRM and the recipes or a Zap, connecting it with other platforms. So again, we're high volume, so we're processing thousands of candidates. So we're heavy on texting. We found that most of our candidates, once they're in our pipeline, are most responsive on text. So we've built pretty advanced texting journeys and flows that are all automated based on how people respond, when people respond, and at what stage they are in our process. We've also layered in a video component this year where we're doing interviews over video. So my first step there was to see which tools are which video tools are able to integrate with Recruit CRM. So even before I chose the tool itself, I looked at the list of what's even possible and made my decision off that. So right now we have hundreds of candidates that are taking videos, and it's automatically feeding into Recruit CRM into their profiles so that our recruiters can view everything packaged up.
Aaron, to make this real for people, can you like give an example of one automation and talk about each of the tools you've used? So, because we're not here to just talk about Recruit CRM. We want to talk about how you, as a business owner, are using Recruit CRM and other tools, and what those tools are, and how much time you think they sort of save, or what value they sort of add. So that'd be awesome if you could use this tool for this, and then it does this.
Sure.
Just
Sure.
everything.
So for texting, we use Ring Central,
Cool.
and I've worked with your team to build out workflows tied to different candidate stages, and also delays in timing so that we could sort of build out these workflows so people get texted on a routine basis. There's check-ins happening all the time. And then basically what I do every evening is just check in on my Ring Central, right? See who's responded, see what the engagement is. But basically it all happens behind the scenes. So Ring Central's been awesome. There's probably a few thousand texts that go out each month and exchanges that go out each month, all triggered from Recruit based on the workflows. For this video capability, we're using a tool called Story Prompt, which basically Recruit CRM through our texting sends them a link to start their interview using Story Prompt. The candidates submit their interview on the platform, and it then feeds back into Recruit CRM. And we use Google Sheets in between. So there's something in between. But anyway, it gets there eventually to Recruit CRM and feeds right into the profiles. The other interesting thing that we've been able to build now is basically like a data dashboard in Google Sheets that all feeds from Recruit CRM. So as I mentioned, like I'm not in this business all day, every day. I basically check on it in the evenings. So what I do now is 8 o'clock every evening. When I sit down, I open up my Google Sheets dashboard and I can see all the activity in my business that's fed from Recruit CRM. So I can see, which candidates are moving through which stages, how many texts went out, how many emails went out, how many people were hired, how many video submissions we received. It's all tracked.
This is
day
fascinating. This is fascinating. So I have a question now. So how many hours do you think you spent setting all of this up? The time you spent yourself and like the time you
Yeah.
spent talking to our team, like how many hours do you think in total you must have spent over a few months getting this set up?
So the setup hours are real. I'm not going to downplay that aspect.
It takes time. It takes
And I'm not a tech person, so this was like I'm also learning as I go. I'm
Yeah.
trying things. I'm failing half the time, and then submitting a request to your team who sorts it out. So I would say each automation probably takes me 3 hours to build.
Yeah.
Someone who's more savvy at this probably takes them an hour. And now that I've gotten good at it, I can build some of them on my own, right? I can replicate them. I can look up the API endpoints, whatever they are, and plug them in pretty
And just
easily.
Aaron's actually technical, which is why he's even trying to do it himself. Most of our customers don't try to do it themselves. They just go to our team and say, please do this for me.
That's fine too.
You're more
fine too.
technical than you're giving yourself credit for if you're even doing it yourself. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
awesome.
I try to do it myself, and I get as far as I can because I want to learn.
And Aaron, how much time do you think you save? Do you say you only look at your dashboard in the evening? So versus,
yeah, I mean, like
what's the?
thousands of hours. I mean, here's what I'll say. In the first couple years of this business, we were doing everything manually, and I would every night, after my day job, I'd work from 7 p.m. to 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. Doing these types of activities, not even talking to any people, just doing basically admin tasks. Exactly, just to move the business along. And tonight, I basically, I'll spend an hour on my business, and I'll just check in on and make sure things are going smoothly, action it. And I'm also, sourcing ideas from other people on my team to say what's bugging you, what's taking up your time, and then I'll pose the question to your team, back a solution for me on it.
That's amazing. So basically 5 to 6 hours of admin to basically an hour because like a lot of the junk work is
absolutely.
automated.
Absolutely. Yeah,
so I'm guessing your answer to the next question is it was worth putting in the time to set up the automations.
Yeah, I mean, hugely. Yeah, hugely. And I'm also, grateful for your team who, like, honestly, they'll build it for you. Like if you don't even want to spend that much time, like I could pose the problem to your team. Your team usually finds a solution, has drafted it for me. I review it, and it's built. So it's been amazing.
And actually, Aaron, that's a great point. So our team is available to do the whole thing for you. What ends up happening is a lot of our customers are not comfortable not knowing how the automation actually works. So they want to actually do a little bit so they sort of know what's going on. So they're not like in the dark. But that is absolutely incredible. Now, to someone who's now doing this for the first time, who's never done a workflow automation, never used Zapier, or doesn't know what an API is, what do you think, like what do you think is like one or two pieces of advice you'd give them when they're starting on setting up their first automation? Maybe been doing recruitment for a long time, but doing everything manually. So going into automation, just pieces of advice for someone doing it for the first time.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was, the first step in like identifying what should be automated is just what are you doing over and over again, repeatable, that can easily be documented. And so I basically created a list of what those things are and started just to knock them out, right? Like the easy ones are like I send the same email to the same people over and over again. I'm literally copying and pasting. So those are the easy ones to start with. And then, from there, I would also just do like, what are the things that you're not getting to because you're a human? And the reason I say that is because like you get distracted. Like I said, like every night I'm working and sometimes I just want to sit and not work. And I don't want the business to be reliant on me opening my laptop every night. So I think through what are the things that can happen without me entirely, that can be done better by a computer. And then try to go tackle those things. Um, the actually doing it is I think the hard part, right? Step one is identifying. Step two is actually doing it. But I think once you build your first one, the sense of accomplishment is you're gonna be hooked. I mean, that's the way I feel about it. It's addicting almost.
It's like
in that way.
being a software developer in light mode, right? Like
Yeah.
you're a light version of a software developer because you're just setting up rules and the bot is just like going and doing stuff.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Aaron. And again, Scott, Aaron, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy days to like just come in and talk to other recruitment business owners and professionals about how you're using automation and being open and actually sharing this versus trying to hoard the knowledge and information and it's incredible. I think, guys, with that, we're sort of coming to a close unless we have more questions, Chevy.
Yeah, I think we have one very interesting question. I think that's going to be the last one that we'll take. So Eric is asking, does the workflow automation system allow the creation of automations that have nothing to do with Recruit CRM?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, one of the things we tell people who are new to working with us is, hey, you don't have to use our CRM to start with. We want you to use our CRM eventually because, to be honest, that's how we make money. We don't really make as much money on workflow automations because the cost to actually work with people to set these up doesn't generally offset the cost of the actually the amount of money we get paid for it. But it doesn't matter. If you want to use workflow automations, you can go in and you can literally go in and say, I want to set up a new workflow and I want to create like a new project called new project or new project, whatever. And within that project, you can go in and you can say, I want to create a new automation. You can name it new automation. And you can choose whether it runs from one of the apps on the marketplace, which we have over 1,000 of, or from a webhook. So even if an app is not on our marketplace, if they have an open API, you can say, if this happens on that app, trigger an event, which will start the automation. And then you can create multi-step automations, which have nothing to do with Recruit CRM. And we have to do that because a lot of our customers are doing things within Recruit CRM, but also outside of Recruit CRM. And if we force them to have Recruit CRM be a part of every single workflow, we're not doing what our job is, which is to help them become more productive and save time. So you can build automations across different apps. There's no compulsion to actually using Recruit CRM as your primary CRM system. You generally do need one user on Recruit CRM to be able to just go in and use it. But let's say you have a team of 20, you could have like all of them using something else and still be using automation.
Wonderful. So I think with that, we have wrapped up all of the questions that we had handpicked from the audience. We did miss out a couple of questions, but like I mentioned earlier, we'll be picking those and we'll be answering them over email to all of you guys. So yeah, we're also inviting all of you to take a personalized demo of our product. The demo booking link will be in the chat very soon. And yeah, thank you so much, Sean. Thank you so much, Aaron. Thank you so much, Scott, for all of you guys for coming in and just sharing your experience. Thank you so much one final time. To learn more about us and our features, head over to recruitcrm.io. And we're also excited to continue these conversations and more on our social media channels. So please follow us for the latest updates and resources. Links are in the chat now. So yeah, I think that's it. That's it. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in our next webinar.
See you guys. And Scott, I think you have a question coming in.
Yeah.
We can unmute Scott and just.
Sorry, it was an accident. I've just put my hand. I don't know how that got there. I was just clicking through the other stuff. Yeah. No, thanks. No, thank you very much, because everything you do is yeah, it's a lot easier dealing with you guys than it is with a lot of the other companies out there. You do actually help. So thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate that, Scott. Really appreciate it.
Right,
Huge vote of confidence. Love it.
Yeah, thank
Cheers.
you so much, guys. All right, have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you once again.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.